Okay, so I've been promising I'm going to do this video for a little while, so I'm actually going to do it now. Okay, we are going to talk about love frequency. And I'm going to talk to you about it in a way that is maybe a little bit different from what you've understood in the past. When one of my many past talents or, jobs or whatever you want to call it, I learned about frequency propagation. And this is actually really cool that I did learn this because it actually really helps. And it's a great way to explain how you receive the transmission of love and what the difference is between like being in a low vibrational frequency versus a high vibrational frequency. Okay, so let's talk about frequency propagation. So when we are looking at frequency propagation, we are looking at like whether it's a very low frequency or VLF or a ultra high frequency or UHF, okay? So when we're talking about a very low frequency, we're going to use this to compare to like a low mood or being in an abusive relationship, or even just like a not very like loving relationship, one where you've kind of settled because you just don't want to be alone, or even your friendships that are non-supportive, or family relationships that are also non-supportive. So when you're in that low frequency, a very low frequency propagates very low and very slow, and it usually has to go through a medium because it's so low and slow. Okay, so very low frequency that has a bandwidth, which is what it's called, a bandwidth that's very small because the wave is like this. Okay, very low, very slow. Okay, and so when you are in that lower vibrational area, you really don't feel a lot of good. You don't feel a lot of love. When you're receiving at that low frequency, the amount of love you get is only like that little bit. Like, that's it. That's all you can get. Okay, and then you move up and you go into like, let's say an HF, okay, high frequency. Not like ultra high, but just high frequency. Okay, and you have the frequency bandwidth that's a little bit more like this. Okay, so now you're receiving about this much. And that's about the time when you realize, wow, that wasn't a lot and it didn't really feel that great. Maybe I should start working on raising my frequencies. Because then when you get into the ultra high frequency, when you are vibing at the highest you possibly can in this human physical carbon-based body, you are receiving the maximum amount of love that you can get in this body, okay? And that is because the frequency, the frequency propagation wave is much higher and much faster. Like the gaps in between are like a lot smaller because it's got a bigger bandwidth to bounce around at, and you can get more data through that higher frequency. So when you're receiving love at this bandwidth that's this big, you're like, wow, that was so awesome. Like I didn't experience that before. 333. And so as you are learning how to raise your vibrations, raise your frequencies. Sorry, my children are over here like arguing with each other, lowering my vibrations. When you start to raise your frequency and raise your vibrations, you're able to receive more of that love. Love is a data transmission, and it is usually traveling on light, which is information. Light is information. So when we are receiving at this huge frequency bandwidth, we can receive more love. So how do you increase your vibrations? Now, before we talk about how to increase your vibrations, let's talk about the things that decrease your vibrations. Number one, any kind of depressant. Alcohol. Alcohol is a really big depressant, and it will lower your frequency very, very quickly. Negativity, abuse, anger, hatred, separation, fear, doubt, pain, These all lower your frequency and don't allow you to have very much of it, okay? So the other thing that can lower your frequency is the people around you, because they can intercept your energy. When they intercept your energy, you're not getting any of that love whatsoever at all. You're getting their false light frequency. So that would be like being in a covert narcissistic relationship where they're giving you love bombs and you feel like you're getting love, but really it's like an underhanded compliment that you're not even realizing is an underhanded compliment, because you're like, oh, love, 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 I'm so happy about love, 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 but you don't even realize that that's not anything like love, okay? Then the more you raise your frequency vibrations, the more you can see that was all an illusion. Those weren't truly love frequencies. It was the false light frequencies, right? And this doesn't necessarily just have to come from like a narcissistic relationship. This can come from like dogmatic beliefs. This is really important, guys. Dogmatic beliefs can lower your frequency. You don't even realize it because you think you're getting the truth, but it's false light. It's false light. The promise of salvation is a false light narrative. The only one who can save you is yourself. I'm going to say that again. You are the only one who can save you. No one is coming to save you. Not from the cosmos, not from heaven. You are the only one that can save you. You have to pick yourself up and dust yourself off and raise your own frequency. Love does not come from an outside source. Love comes from within. Love comes from within. Say it one more time, because you know I like 3. Love comes from within. Okay? So once you actually open up your heart space and you start to receive that higher frequency of love, you're like, oh, wow. I was living a lie. And it will hurt. You will grieve. But remember that the more you raise your vibrations, the more you'll feel that love, and the less you'll want that past life. The less you'll want to have the false light. The more you'll want to search inward to find your truth. And I have said this in the past, and I will say this again. You came to this earth with your own wisdom. You came to this earth with your own past lifetimes that you have gained through experience. You have wisdom inside of you. Search your heart. Leave the brain behind. This is your ego. This is your survival mechanism. We are no longer surviving. We are thriving, right? The new earth is not about survival. It is about thriving. So when we leave behind that past and we raise our frequency vibrations, the love that comes in feels unbelievable at first. But then the more you dive into it, the more you swish around inside of it, or swirl or dance or embrace the flame, however you want to look at it, the more you do that, the harder it is to lower your vibrations. The harder it is to touch the things that you know lower your vibrations. And the more you move towards the ability to handle more light. I really, really hope that this has explained love as a frequency and a data transmission, okay? If you guys have any questions, or if there's anything that I may not have covered that you don't understand, totally comment. I will answer any questions that I need to answer, okay? I love to teach. So if you have questions, you want to get a further explanation on it, let me know, okay? Now, And I suppose I should say this: like, comment, and subscribe. I don't ever say that.